put myself behind Jason Whitlock here. Make sure you go and check his video out if you don't want my commentary, and go give him a like and a subscribe if you haven't already done so. Let's get into it.
Quit apologizing for being Christian.
Yep.
Quit apologizing for being white.
Yep. Especially on that point, white men, white women. You guys got to stop being made to be ashamed to be white. You got to understand the game that's being played here. I'll just let you in on a little secret. Weak people will not respect strong people who voluntarily give the weak power. In fact, the weak will have nothing but contempt and hatred for you because they realize that they were never weak because you were strong. They were weak because they were weak.
Quit apologizing for standing for your value. Cut it all out. And I'm about to play you a clip from Nick Fuentes. What he's saying is not the answer. Don't give in to this. Don't give in to simplistic bigotry. You, white folks, and I get the feeling, they're like, hey, look, we're being targeted, we're being diminished, demonized, and destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I understand that reaction. But you have to go to a deeper level of understanding. This is an attack on Christianity.
That is exactly correct. It's not just an attack on Christianity. It is an attack on Western civilization. I don't know why white people feel the need to destroy their civilization and their culture to make the minority races and all these degenerate lifestyles happy. You got your ancestors built something great here, and it is all being undone by people who are full of envy, jealousy, and hatred. And you being the white man is being made to carry the burden. But let's continue. Let's listen to Jason Whitlock talk here.
This is an attack on Jesus Christ. This is an attack on a biblical worldview. They have defined Christianity as the white man's religion so that they can get black people to hate Christianity.
Never mind, Christianity was very deep in African culture, and that Christianity is everywhere. It's not just the white man that's practicing Christianity. But again, like I said, this is more of an attack on Western civilization. They hate everything the white man has done. They're undoing everything the white man has done. All the institutions that were built all these years. Oh, but but black people also helped on that. Well, if black people helped build all this stuff in America, why are you trying to destroy it? If the black man helped build all this, or was the primary builder of all this in America, why are you trying to destroy it?
But trust me, the attack is on Jesus Christ. The attack is on a biblical worldview. The attack is on the grace and mercy that we were provided, that we are obligated to provide. And so they have radicalized black people. There's no question about it.
Yep.
And people out there, man, what do you mean? I would never do that. I've been a good husband and father, and I've raised my kids the right way. And, my kids wouldn't do that. Yes, they will.
Yes, they will.
Kid, if
Yes, they will.
if buying into a victim mentality, a mentality of entitlement, and mentality of don't you tolerate no disrespect.
By the way, he's getting ready to lead up to what happened in, I don't know what city it was in, but it was two kids, Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony. Austin Metcalf was an athlete. Carmelo Anthony was an athlete. It was an athlete. It was just a real sad confrontation. Carmelo Anthony was in the wrong spot. Austin Metcalf said, "Hey, this is for my team. Your team is over elsewhere." And one thing led to another. Carmelo Anthony pulls a knife out, stabs Austin Metcalf in the heart, killing him. Killed him because he felt disrespected. You know, you can't tell me that I'm in the wrong spot. I'm going to sit here. And if you don't let me, there's going to be consequences. 2 families destroyed because one child couldn't control himself. People try to make it a race thing. Well, it would be a race thing if the roles were reversed, but since they're not, well, there's just 2 kids having a unfortunate confrontation. It's not about race. It's not about politics. It's really about culture, as Jason Whitlock is getting ready to get into. Let's get back to him.
Is capable of being triggered and turning violent. And so all of us that have affirmed, celebrated, embraced, promoted the whole hip-hop black culture thing.
Mm-hmm.
We're all guilty. And that's whether you're black or white.
Yep, I agree.
And that's what I'm saying. Call it out. Stand your ground.
By the way, on that point, I've always been saying that all this time, one of the biggest things that has destroyed the black culture is one hip hop song from NWA, "Fuck the Police." That song has been so damaging. And now Ice Cube, he's almost 60, I believe. Dr. Dre is in his 60s. Eazy-E is dead. MC Yella, I think he's still around. He's probably in his 50s. Well, he's probably in his late 50s. These men ain't in Compton anymore. You think they're going to go around disrespecting police? We saw Ice-T. Ice-T looked like a fool when he was out there. And he driving around with no tags, no registration, no driver's license, entitled Negro, thinking that he's above the law. I would say, before those men pass, not excluding Ice-T because he wasn't in NWA, before they pass, they need to come out and make a song called "Respect the Police." It's so easy to avoid getting in trouble like this, to avoid having confrontation with the police. It's so easy. But that song, it changed the mentality of so many young men, not just black, and young women. And they got to come back and fix that. They'll probably say, "Oh, that's not my fault. It's not, I just make music." Yeah, you just make music that was influential. I always like to say also, by the way, if you want to see the devolution of the black man, just listen to his music. If you want to see the devolution of the black man, just listen to his music.
The damn Super Bowl, 90% of the audience in the Super Bowl stadium is white folks.
Mm-hmm.
Probably 70% of the people watching on TV, white folks, and they're running out Kendrick Lamar to do the halftime show.
Exactly.
That ain't about you. That's about the NFL and Roger Goodell promoting a demonic, nihilistic worldview.
Yep.
Object to it. And if someone wants to...
Although that was a nice Monte Carlo. Well, let me just back up a little bit. That's nice, man. Is that a Grand National? Or is that just a regular Monte Carlo? Whew. I love the Monte Carlo. That was a good car. I wouldn't mind having a Grand National.
And if someone wants to call you racist and you don't understand, tell them to kiss your grits.
Exactly. I'm gonna stop it again. You guys remember that one white lady who was scared out of her mind because some black dude was following her in his truck, and she runs up to the house that I guess he lived at. She rings the doorbell asking for help. Everybody jumped on the white woman. Oh my God, she a racist. How dare she do that? No, she did the right thing. I hope more of you white women have that mindset. Yes, I stereotype. I do. I see a gang of black people that are just sitting around. I'm like, what are they up to? You should have that same attitude too. You are responsible for keeping you alive. I'll give an example. In Florida, there was a woman who was being followed by a black man. And when she got to her apartment, she got on the elevator. I guess she didn't want to think of herself being racist or anything like that. She let this black man on the elevator with her. This black man proceeds to go ahead and rape her and kill her. You are responsible for keeping you alive. You should be using generalizations about people. You should be discriminating about people. If you feel wary around black people, maybe it's justified. It's not racist to want to be skeptical of people that might harm you. It's not your fault that the majority of crimes committed in the country are by black people. That's not your fault. You have to watch out for you. And I would much rather be called a racist, bigot, homophobe, or any other dumb name and still be alive than, be dead at the hands of somebody that you should have been suspicious of. Let's continue.
What you should not do is what Nick Fuentes did last night. And I'm going to criticize him, but I'm going to also explain him. I'm going to explain where he's coming from, because he's not alone in feeling this way. But let's play the SOT number 4. Here's Nick Fuentes reacting to Austin Metcalf's murder.
You may think that an adult that can't stop watching the P word looks something like this, but this is what they really look like.
And I will tell you this as plainly as possible.
By the way, that little ad that popped up, I was going to cut it out, but I'm going to leave it there. That ad that popped up, that's a story for a different day. I should have left that right there, but that would have made this too long. But men who are just addicted to porn, you need help. I'm gonna let something on you about me. I used to be addicted to porn until I watched Stevie Knight, and Stevie Knight basically came out and said one simple phrase: if you like watching porn, you're gay. I ain't gay. I stopped watching porn. That's how powerful that argument was. Let's go back over here.
I don't want to live around black people. I just don't. It would be irresponsible if I had a wife and kids to live near black people. It just would be. And that's not to say that every black person is violent. It's not to say that every black person is the same way. But we watch the news, we read the papers. When you drive downtown in Chicago, you know who you got to look out for and worry about when you're thinking about whether you're going to get carjacked, when you're worried about catching a stray bullet, when you're worried about who's going to pull up on the side of the road and literally shove a rifle in your face and steal your iPhone or shoot you point blank, execution style, in Lincoln Park. We know who's doing it.
Now, Jason Whitlock is gonna take issue with some of that stuff, but me personally, he ain't wrong about any of that. Now, we're supposed to hate Nick Fuentes because Nick Fuentes is a big racist and everything like that. You got to dismiss racists. Got to dismiss them. Nah. I tend to try to listen to people to see what they got to say. I don't let their personal philosophies or belief systems stop me from listening to what they got to say. And frankly, I don't find any disagreement with what he said. It's not his fault that he's come to that conclusion. It's our fault. Our being the black man, the black community. We developed that reputation. Our reputation precedes us, unfortunately.
I don't want to live near them. I don't want to be near them. They make me nervous. Unfortunately, we just don't know. When you're on the subway, when you're driving in your car, when you're in the city streets, you don't know whether the black person in proximity to you is one of the good ones or one of the ones who is going to summon an unbelievable, I mean, literally, for people like us, an unthinkable level of spontaneous brutality, senseless and merciless violence in an instant. We don't know. There's ambiguity. You're sitting on a subway. You look across. You see someone acting strange or aggressive. Is this someone who is going to pull out a knife and in 2 seconds slit my throat and kill me? Or is this just someone who's having a bad day? We don't know. I'm not willing to risk my life to find out. It's not worth it to me. I'm not willing to put myself in a position to find out.
What he just said is difficult to hear. It's not the proper reaction, but it's not insanity.
Mm-mm.
And the reason I say that, and look, this is the first time I believe I've ever talked about Nick Fuentes in any detail on this show.
My first time.
I really hadn't paid much attention to him, and then I've been forced to pay some attention to him and the Gropers movement or whatever, and a lot of that has to do with the Christ is King debate. I've had to look into it, but I get his response, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I believe it was in 1993. Jesse Jackson, the leader of the Rainbow Coalition, the wannabe
I already know where he's going with this because I've already heard Jesse Jackson say it before, but some of you guys may not have heard it. So it's kind of funny how, and it's coming out more and more. This is also with the Trump tariffs and whatnot. What these people say in the past comes back to bite them, and the media and all the powers that be that run left of center and are far left. They want to make it go away as quickly as possible because they don't want to show that they used to have these types of ideas, that they used to agree. And we all in America used to have a good moral center until we were led astray.
Heir to Martin Luther King said more concisely the exact same thing Nick Fuentes just said there. And Jesse Jackson, I believe, terrible leader,
He was no heir to Martin Luther King. Hell no.
Fraud. But he said the exact same thing. This is a very famous quote from Jesse Jackson. I want to read the whole thing in its entirety. He said, we must face the number one critical issue of our day. It is youth crime in general and black-on-black crime in particular. There is nothing more painful to me at this stage in my life than to walk down the street and hear footsteps and start thinking about robbery. Then look around and see somebody white and feel relieved. After all we have been through, just to think we can't walk down our own streets. How humiliating.
Yeah. Men like you free these monsters to go about and run amok. Because when the cops and society pointed out that we don't want this run amok, you instead turn back around and call the cops racist and call society racist. Systemic racism. So, and you guys seem to think that criminals are stupid. Criminals respond to incentives just like everybody else. If you give criminals the incentive to commit crime, you shouldn't be surprised when the criminals commit crime. And they have great incentive at the moment because everybody is all worried about what the cops are going to do and how the cops are going to respond to criminals instead of how the criminals are running amok in our streets. And it's because of men like you, Jesse Jackson. The bougie blacks is what I call them. That's what you are. You're a bougie black.
It's hard to track that. I remember this. I lived through Jesse Jackson saying this. I thought it happened in the 1980s. The best sourcing I could find said he said this in 1993, but I thought it was in the 1980s. And what he said there, and he got in a lot of trouble, and the liberal media jumped down his throat.
There's the other thing, too.
Backpedal and made all this is terrible. How dare you say it?
Hey, when a black man gets off the plantation, oh my God. Especially when it's one that's supposed to be a faithful Democrat. Oh my God. We got to rein that nigga back in. He can't be telling the truth like this. He can't be out there saying these things, reporting the truth. We can't have these fools wake up. We need these blacks voting Democrat for the rest of their lives. You know what Lyndon Johnson said. We're gonna have them NIGG asterisk voting Democrat for the rest of their lives. Just paraphrasing. Jesse Jackson, how dare you get out of line? How dare you? Don't be talking about black on black crime. Don't be talking about how you safe around white people. Don't you know you breaking the myth that we created? That it's just white men running around lynching black folk? Be telling the truth like that? What's wrong with you?
Don't you know white people are to blame for everything? But Jesse Jackson said basically the same thing Nick Fuentes said last night. And both of them, heretics. And I'm not saying that there's no one that I know, regardless of color, who hasn't had those thoughts flash through their head.
Oh, absolutely.
You can't pay attention to the news cycle. You can't be from the communities where black on black crime is rampant, where anytime you go into a black nightclub, you got to go through a metal detector before they let you in. You can't socialize in those environments. Have family in those environments.
Nope.
Have loved ones who have died or been injured in violence.
Oh yeah. I still remember years ago when I was working at the local newspaper, Arizona Republic. I was doing the obituaries, and I saw the obituary for one of my good friends, Lewis, come across. And I'm looking, man, what happened to Lewis? So I started doing some digging. He went to an all-black club, was hanging out, saw his baby mama there. They got into a tussle. Arguing. And her brother was there. And so Lewis leaves. Lewis leaves the club and goes home. Her brother, his baby mama brother followed him. When he got to his house, it smoked him right in front of his parents' house. That still bothers me to this day. I wrote that boy's obituary. He was the nicest, kindest kid you can ever know. He dressed like a thug, but most of us dressed like thugs back then in the day. It was the style for the West Coast especially, but me personally, I used to dress more like the East Coast hip hop. But he was the nicest kid. Always smiling, always gentle, always kind. And he got killed over an argument with his baby mama. Another one, Duty. I didn't like that kid. He pulled a knife on me. We used to work together at Pistol Pizza back in the day, and he was playing around with the knife and everything. And I'm looking at him, I'm laughing at him, and he thought I was making fun of him. And he stops. He goes, "I don't need a knife to handle you." Like, dude, what you talking about? I ain't trying to start shit. Anyways, he was walking home, Circle K Park, walking home. Car pulls up, just lights him up right there. Dead. Man, I tell you. This is the black community for you. I'm pretty sure these stories can be told over and over and over and over and over. I will dare say that most black people can tell you at least one story of someone they know who got smoked. Got one more for you. My cousin Dwayne. He got smoked on the porch of his on the porch of his house.
You can't live in a world where every black person thinks, or the majority of black people think, as soon as I make it, I'm moving away into a white suburb.
Mm-hmm.
You can't live in this world.
But by the way, they won't explain that juxtaposition there. The white man is out there, systemic racism, wanting to kill the black man. Then why are so many black people wanting to move to the white neighborhoods? That's an interesting juxtaposition, isn't it?
Without having the thoughts that Jesse Jackson expressed years ago and that Nick Fuentes just expressed last night. And what ties Jesse Jackson, Nick Fuentes, and we can go all the way back even further in history.
Mm-hmm.
What ties it all together is we've never tried the proper solution. We've never
Exactly.
Rather than give in to bigotry, rather than to give in to skin color bias, we've never legitimately fought back against a culture that has been installed by Hollywood, the music industry,
Mm-hmm.
idols set up in the culture. We've never said, hey, men, black, white, those of you that believe in Jesus Christ, let's come together under that umbrella. Let's come together under Christian culture and obedience to Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
We've never tried that as the solution. Don't miss a second of Fearless.
You know, Jason Whitlock is right. Now, I'm not a Christian per se. I'm not baptized or anything like that, but I certainly do understand the importance of that word to helping keep men out of trouble and to helping build a better society. It's either going to be God's rules or man's rules. And we have records of ruination when you are just listening to man's rules. They mock God's rule because they want you to be under their rule. So those are my thoughts. This is a longer video than most and everything like that, but I wanted to react to Jason Whitlock's video here. I think he makes some really great points. Nick Fuentes made some really great points if you are a rational, logical thinking person. Jesse Jackson made a good point. You know? And just to circle it all back, like I said before, you are responsible for you staying alive. You do not have the capacity to know everybody on earth. You need to do some generalizations and discriminations in order to keep yourself alive. And don't let people tear you down by calling your names, because if you die, there ain't gonna be any sweat off of them. But again, those are my thoughts. Jump down in the comments, let me know what you think. Remember to like, share, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you'll be notified when I post videos like this one. And remember, this is Chris Bolts signing out, and I will catch you in the next stream. You take it easy.